Hello everyone and welcome to today's National Workforce Development Fund, or NWDF in abbreviated form, information webinar. My name is Chris Parrish. I am a Workforce Development Coordinator here with Manufacturing Skills Australia, or MSA. I am joined this afternoon by Stephanie Myler, who is our NWDF Administrator and resident NWDF expert.
Hello and good afternoon.
Okay, the purpose of today's webinar is to have a quick look at the NWDF. We will look at how it works, but we'll primarily focus on application submission and the practical considerations involved. However, just for the purpose of understanding how in-depth we need to go this afternoon, we've decided to run a quick poll assessing NWDF knowledge with us this afternoon. I'll just say that your responses here are anonymous and we just get to view an aggregated percentage at all. So let's have a look at that.
Yep, so most of you are answering that, and it's how would you rate your current knowledge of NWDF? A, know all about it. B, in the process of developing an application. C, have heard something about it. Or D, have no idea at all.
Okay, we get a bit of movement there, but it looks like a fair percentage, Stephanie, have heard something about the NWDF.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. We're in a process.
Yep.
Some people know all about it. 28%, that's good to know.
Yep.
And very few people have no idea at all. So
yep.
We're with a group that's quite knowledgeable.
Okay.
Okay. Just before we get started, there are a few items I might make mention of. Number one, if you have any questions, please feel free to type them in the side panel. That should appear on the left-hand side of your presentation. We've allocated a short period of time at the end of the presentation, and this afternoon we will do our best to answer what we can. However, please feel free to contact us at any time for more information. You'll find our contact details will be provided at the end of the presentation, and of course we would always welcome your calls. Next, this webinar will be recorded and a link will be sent to all registered participants. It will also be available via download on our website. Finally, at the end of the presentation, we will have the opportunity, will have the opportunity to provide feedback to us on our webinar this afternoon. It would be very helpful to us for our future webinars if you could complete this survey. Okay, well, let's get started. There are various features of the fund that you may need to be aware of before and as you make your application. First, applications can be made by any enterprise regardless of their size. This includes enterprises that are small, medium or large. They can also be submitted by a consortium of enterprises. This may be a group led by an industry association or any other industry body representing a number of organisations. They can also be submitted by employment service providers. Now, I might ask Stephanie, are there any organisations that can't really apply, Steph?
The only time an organisation wouldn't be able to apply, Chris, would be in the scenario where a registered training organisation would attempt to apply on behalf of an enterprise. However, if that registered training organisation wanted to train their own staff, well, then they become the enterprise and the applicant.
So if the RTO is training their own people in a particular area, they can apply for the fund.
That's correct.
But they can't apply on behalf of another enterprise or organisation.
Correct, yes.
Another point to make is that applications can be submitted that suit the requirements of any enterprise or group of organisations. The point here is that funding allocation is not limited. Okay. Let's run another poll so we can gain an understanding of what type of organisations we have represented this afternoon. Once again, this is anonymous and we get to look at the aggregated percentages.
So what best describes your organisation? Are you 1, an RTO, 2, enterprise or business, 3, government department, 4, other?
Okay, we've got a fair few, it's 58% RTOs, some good enterprise representation there. and some government departments and others.
Yeah.
Okay. The important point to make here is that this fund works off a co-contribution model, meaning the government acts in partnership with any participating enterprise or group of organisations and pays only a contribution of the total training cost. This contribution is dependent on the enterprise size, as you can see demonstrated on the diagram on your screen. A small enterprise is one that has 1 to 99 employees, and they can expect 67% of the total cost to be covered by the fund. That really means that if you train 3 people, you get 2 paid for by the taxpayer. A medium enterprise is 100 to 199. That will attract 50% of the total training costs. That's train 2 people, get 1 for free. Lastly, a large enterprise is 200 or more employees, and they can attract 33% of their total training cost. That's train 3, get 1 for free. Okay, let's talk about training eligibility. On the screen you will see the main eligibility criteria. Let's quickly run through those. The candidate must not have previously completed the qualifications that's being applied for. They must have satisfied all prerequisite or licensing requirements. Applications can only be submitted for nationally recognised qualifications that are Certificate 2, Vocational Graduate Diploma, and endorsed skill sets that are included within any nationally recognised training package. Now, Stephanie, I may ask if you can explain what's meant by skill sets in this context.
Yeah, it's a good question, Chris. Skill sets in this context refers to endorsed skill sets by the government that sit within a training package or a nationally recognised training package. So this does not refer to a conglomerate of units that an enterprise feels that they need to do, or an RTO may set up and call a group of competencies or of units a skill set. It must be recognised by the government. If an enterprise does wish to do a skill set as a part of their training, it's important that they contact us because there are some additional requirements and evidence that is needed to supply to the government. And if you're unsure, just give us a call and we can take you through it.
Important information. Last few points there. Candidates must be Australian citizens, permanent residents or humanitarian refugees. They must be 17 years or above of age. Those eligible are existing workers and new workers, including job seekers. In terms of the fund, this means existing workers are any employees already working for the business. New workers are potential employees who apply through a government-approved job services. I know, Stephanie, that this model used in the NWDF varies from state funding models. I'm just wondering if you could talk to that for us.
Yes, so Chris, with a state funding model, the states usually refer to a new worker who's been working with the enterprise for less than 3 months or less. However, under National Workforce Development Fund model, it refers to somebody who does not, at the point of applying for the fund, work for the organisation. And they must come through an approved government recognised job services provider.
Okay.
I just want to clarify here, Chris, there's some people who are asking, I can see a question about single units being eligible or a set of units that are not recognised as a skill set.
Okay.
I just want to clarify that is correct. Single units cannot be applied for, and if it's not a recognised skill set, then no, you cannot apply for it. You can still do the training, but the government will not fund just random sets of units that you feel you might need. I hope that answers the question.
A bit of key information. Thanks
Yeah.
for that, Steph. On that, we might run a third poll, and this is our final poll this afternoon, that will provide some idea for us as to who may have already, out of the group, started the application submission process. We go to okay, we see that a fair percentage haven't started the process yet, so that's good that they're participating this afternoon.
Yeah, great.
Okay, that's good. Okay, at this point, we did say we'd focus on the practical application, practical processes involved. So I might just hand it over to Stephanie, who's going to walk us step by step through the application process. Thanks, Steph.
Okay, so I can already see some questions coming up about whether applications are open or not. Just before I get to that, we've devised this little diagram to help contextualize and put into a process how this application does go in a step-by-step process. So initially, an inquiry is made to MSA, either by the enterprise or the RTO. We will then discuss your needs and get you started on your application. Once your application is complete, then MSA will conduct a compliance check and provide a priority rating, and the Department of Industry and the Australian Workplace Productivity Agency will assess the application, and then the Minister, depending on the recommendation made by the Department and AWPA, will then release the funding. With regards to some questions about whether it's open at the moment, it's very important that we state here currently there have been some delays around the ministerial approval with the release of funding, and that has been really since the election of the current government. However, the Department of Industry is encouraging MSA, and we thereby encourage you to continue to put applications in. So applications are still being accepted. However, between the assessment of the department and the ministerial approval, there are some delays. I know you're probably thinking, what is the timeline with this? Unfortunately, at this moment, we don't have a clear indication of time, and we can't really guess. We don't want to give you false hope. So all we encourage you to do is to keep putting in applications, keep working on your applications, and we will keep you updated every step of the way. As soon as we know more information, we will let you know.
And it would be safe to say, Steph, that we consider this to be a productive business process in and of itself. And,
Absolutely.
And if the fund is to progress, of course, you'll be well prepared to continue with it into the future.
Yes.
So all things considered, there's nothing lost in going through the process.
Absolutely.
And we're there to help you
Yes.
every step along the way.
Exactly. So getting back to our process, if and when the Minister approves the release of funding, then you are free to commence your training after you receive your contract, sign it, and then you start your training. So that's the process in a bit of a nutshell. Okay, let's move on to what is actually required for the application. So for most of you, you know a little bit about it. When you see the application, sometimes it can be a little bit daunting. So at MSA, we've tried to break it down into clear documents that need to be supplied by the applicant and then what needs to be supplied by the RTO. And when we do that, it means we are happy to assist you every single step of the way. So as Chris already mentioned, if you have any questions, just give us a call. We're happy to help you develop these documents as well.
I can imagine, Stephanie, it could be quite a daunting process for a lot of smaller organisations.
It can be. And that's why there's one like us, and we have a whole team back at our office ready to assist any time. We can even send somebody out to assist you, like yourself, Chris, who are willing to come out and visit your enterprise and give you some assistance.
Sure, great.
Okay, so the first thing that needs to be supplied by the applicant is the business case. So I'm just going to switch your screens over, and you should now see a PDF document which is a sample business case. And this is one that we have developed to just show you what kind of information you need to put in. So first of all, we want to see a little bit about your business. So who are you? What do you do? What products and services do you include? How big are you? How many people do you hire? A bit of a breakdown, maybe even a organizational chart, just so that we and the assessors from the department can get to know a little bit about your organization. Then we want to see, where is your business going? So what are your business aims? What do you want to do in the next, say, 5 years? What is it that you're working towards? What do you want to achieve? And this helps us to now start to assess the gaps, because you'll then see the next heading talks about drivers and challenges and opportunities. And you might mention things like, in your area there are skill shortages or labour shortages, or you might have high staff turnover, you may have a lack of key skills, you may have problems with your production or system. Whatever it may be that your business is having to deal with day in, day out, and that is affecting your business, that is causing you to perhaps not be as efficient as you would like to be. It may be large amounts of waste, it may be large amounts of downtime. Whatever is happening, we want to hear about it specific to your business. As you explain that, and you can see here we've provided a little bit of examples to help you see that you need to show, well, these are our issues and this is how it is affecting us. So that we can really assess this application on its merits and really start to see, well, how does this training that you're applying for fit in with your business and what you want to achieve. Next, we move on to business needs and your capacity to meet these needs. So you're really looking at, this is where we want to be, this is our gaps, this is what we need to be able to do, and here's the equipment or the contract or the operation, the people, in order to fulfill these needs. And you might find that when you write this document, you don't necessarily have the tools that you need in order to make sure that your business remains productive, remains competitive. And that's really, as Chris mentioned, the purpose of these documents, in addition to applying to for getting some funding.
We supply like an information pack, don't we?
Yes, that's correct. That's correct.
These examples are available to potential applicants.
Exactly. So as we mentioned at the beginning of this webinar, the webinar will be available on our website. If you want to get our information pack, we'll provide our email details to you at the end of the presentation, and we'll happily send you everything that we have and also talk you through it in more detail if you need to. Next, in our business case, we then now start looking at what are the solutions. So in the beginning of the document, you've looked at where you want to be, what are your gaps, what are your needs, and now we want to start to look at, well, what are these solutions? How can you start to achieve your goals and fill in these gaps? So you may find things like buying new equipment or implementing new production and processes, systems, whatever it is that you feel that your business needs. And then you might also assess your workforce solution. So this is where, as you can see in this document, we've broken it down into areas. So we've looked at senior sales and what they need to do in order to fill in some gaps, start addressing these needs. What does senior management need to do? What do our team leaders need to do? And then lastly, we now look at the NWDF proposal. And this is where we explain what is our training that you want to propose, what you want the government to fund for you or assist you with delivering. And you want to look at things like who's going to do this training, what is the training for, why were these people chosen? And as you can see, we can send this through to you. We've included quite a number of details, including how long is this going to take, why were these people chosen, and why we have chosen this training, what is the outcome, and how this links to our strategic goals as a business. Very, very important.
It's like, Stephanie, a comprehensive business case as to why you should get public or taxpayer support in training or upskilling your workforce.
Exactly. And lastly, it's the expected benefits. What do you see as an enterprise the benefits will be in doing this training to your business, but also to your individual employees? Now, I should mention, although this is an in-depth document, all of these details really are very important as the application is assessed on its merits. So if there is missing information, we can't really assess it to the best of our ability because we don't have the full picture. So the more information you provide, the better your application is going to be. And of course, I'm here and Chris is here and we're happy to give you feedback and assist you to include any of those important details. Okay, so next is our workforce development plan. So I refer you to your screen again. I often get the question, Chris, that people say, oh, the business case and the workforce development plan, they're the same. When in actual fact, they're not. Yes, the details will cross over, and yes, you may feel like you're repeating yourself a little bit. However, the business case is really your argument for why you need that specific training, why you need the government to help you with one specific set of training.
Okay. Would you say that the business plan is broader than the workforce development plan?
Other way around.
Other way around.
Other way around.
Okay.
So the workforce development plan is really a full workforce assessment. So you're looking at your entire workforce and the needs and what are the implications. And you can see here we've provided you with a little sample. Once again, we're happy to email this through to you. The government is not specific about the kind of information, how the information should be presented. So we've done this in this format because we feel that this is an easy way, and we have found this to be very successful. However, other companies use different formats. They may call it a training needs analysis, a skills analysis, a learning and development plan. It may come in all sorts of formats. The government's not particular about that as long as it's an assessment and that it covers things like what people and skills you need in order to meet business goals for now and in the future. It also should identify what you need to do to get, develop and keep the people you have to stay in business. And that might include recruitment, retention and training.
Stephanie, if I can just step in there and take this opportunity for a quick plug of some of the other services we offer as from MSA. As you can see, the workforce development plan that Stephanie is displaying on the screen there has been generated by a software application that we call MSkills Manager. Now that's available via our website. We can help you use that, and that can generate reports much as what you see there. So it's handy to know that that's available.
Yes, exactly. So, and as we've mentioned before, some of our representatives can come out and visit you at your workplace and give you assistance with this. We have a whole team of advisors who are willing to visit you, and we can assist you with your development of a workforce development plan. Right. Okay, so the next thing is really just the easiest thing is our commitment letter. And again, I've put up a new document on your screen. Hopefully you can see it. This is just a commitment letter from you as the applicant to say that you comply with the selection criteria, that you are eligible to apply for this funding, and that you are committed to paying the co-contribution costs. I also would like to refer you to number 4. Here it says that as the applicant, you confirm that no other sources of funding from state or federal governments have been accessed. So with the NWDF, you can't apply for any other funding. So you can't apply for some state funding as well as NWDF for the same candidate. However, in some cases, this condition does not apply to the federal incentive. So there's a little bit, sometimes there's a confusion there with funding, what is classed as funding and what isn't. In this case, the federal incentive is not classed as funding. Again, if you're not sure, please give us a call. We're happy to confirm anything, any queries that you have. Okay, I'll pop us back over to the slideshow here. Lastly, as the RTO, what do we need from you? This really is a training plan, a proposal, and it should include your costing and a justification about why you have charged the amount that you have. And we can assist you to develop this and make sure it's all compliant. And this really is a document that most RTOs provide to their clients anyway.
Would be like a quote for service.
Exactly, exactly. Any training proposal that an RTO would normally do. If you require some language, literacy and numeracy support, again, we can assist you with developing a WELL application, and that's a different application, but we're happy to point you in the right direction. Okay, let's move on.
Now there are some critical dates should be considered.
Yeah. So for this financial year, Chris, enrolments must be completed by the 30th of June 2014. Now, it's important that I mention here that enrolments and training cannot commence until the application has been approved by the Minister and a contract, or what we call a Memorandum of Understanding, has been signed. So it's really important for all listening today to really make sure that no training commences until, and even enrolments commence until after that point.
And that's an important point to make, Stephanie, considering the situation that we face with the funding process at the moment.
Exactly right. So we do encourage you to put in an application. However, you need to keep that in mind, especially if you do put an application in and you start the training before the Memorandum of Understanding has been signed and completed, you do put your government funding in jeopardy. So very important.
I would probably say the best thing for the organisations, and tell me if you agree with this, the best thing for organisations to do, given the current environment, is to talk through the process with us. So talk to yourself or talk to myself or one of my colleagues as they progress with their application.
Exactly right. Yep. So if and when the government, the Minister approves the application, commencements then can start within 6 months of the date of enrolment, and the completions need to be done by the 31st of December 2006. So you've got about 2 years to complete everything. Okay.
Well, thanks for participation this afternoon. We hope you found the presentation helpful, and we welcome your feedback and your comments and your phone calls. We're just going to have a run through. We've got quite a few people on our event this afternoon, and we've got a few questions sitting in front of us. We're mindful of time, so we're going to run through what we can. If we don't get to your question, please, once again, and we reiterate this, feel free to contact myself, Stephanie, one of my workforce development colleagues, and we will answer what we can't get to this afternoon. We will get to in due course. So what have we got?
I can see one here, Chris. This is a good question about the application being for more than one qualification. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
So this fund, the great thing about it is that it is not restricted. So any nationally recognised qualification or skill set can be applied for.
I see there's a question there, Stephanie, from Janetta D. Do you provide assistance in WA too, or do we have to go through the EATC? Well, we do provide assistance in WA. We're a national organisation, so we would encourage Janetta or somebody from that organisation to contact us and we can guide you through that.
Yes, exactly. I see another question here about the chance of approval. We can't really give any sort of timelines at the moment. We have the information that the department is still accepting applications at this point in time. So we just encourage you to put in your application and then we will keep you updated as much as we can.
A good question there, Stephanie, from Tony L. Can MSA support non-MSA qualifications?
Yes, we absolutely can. So we are Manufacturing Skills Australia, so of course we are interested in manufacturing businesses. If a manufacturing enterprise needs some additional training like in management or sales, those are not manufacturing qualifications. However, of course you can apply for that.
And we've had quite a few.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Stephanie, Tony B asked, can you please cover again who is eligible to apply?
So we'll just go over that really quickly. I can pop our slide back for you. Just bear with me. Here is the eligibility for training. So the eligibility for individuals is really that they need to be 17 years of age or over, Australian resident, permanent resident, humanitarian refugee, and they need to be an existing worker or a new worker through a JSA. For the enterprise, any enterprise can apply, and I think this relates to Chris here where you said, can the application be for an industry? Absolutely. So it can come through an industry body like an association or a consortium of enterprises if they wish. So there's no real limit here with who can apply and what they can apply for. There are some selection criteria and some important points around what type of qualification you do. Really, the only limitation there is that it needs to be a nationally recognised qualification. If you're unsure about whether the course that you want to do or the competencies or the skill set you want to do is within that umbrella, just give us a call and I'll pop our details back up there for you. And you can get our details off the website. Again, you will receive a copy of this webinar, so you'll have all our details. Just give us a call whenever it's convenient for you and we'll answer any of those questions that you have.
And we have a presence in with all the current social media. Yep. We're on LinkedIn, we're on Twitter. Yep. We have a website, of course, and we and you can subscribe to our monthly newsletter. So that about wraps it up for us this afternoon, and we do appreciate everybody's participation and patience. And we do, once again, and we keep on reiterating this, but our my details are up on the screen, so are Stephanie's. Please feel free to call us or contact us, and we're here to help you through the process. Thank you very much.
Thank you.